All right, so I am live and I have to go and kick this over onto my YouTube. And then I'm going to, yeah, this is a pain in my ass. Sorry. So I'm supposedly live and I'm supposed to be celebrating 10 years of LitRPG, and I don't even know if I'm there or not. But I am trying to figure this out because I don't like Facebook on the laptop, but I like it on the phone. So I'm going to see if I can do something here real quick and go to Pop Up's YouTube. I will start talking and I will figure this out. I'm seeing if Richie will answer the phone. See, I'm seeing if Richie will answer the phone here. Probably won't. He's too busy. I don't think I'm going to be doing this. Oh, I am here. Hi, guys. So it's working. Hi. All right. So we have Doug, we have Geneva, and it's Rec. I guess I did this correctly. Sorry, the house is a mess behind me here. Do back there. I am here to celebrate Lit RPG, the group that was started by Aileron Kong about 10 years ago this weekend. And I have to get rid of Facebook and I have to get rid of this. I don't have to look at this. Hi. If you notice, I'm wearing Rec Wells Stumbling Up Richard, just because it's free advertising. Um, and that's what I do. That's it. So what do we do here? You have questions. Doug is here. Geneva, ask me questions. Rec, ask me questions. I need more people here. Go over onto Facebook and Discord and tell people that I'm here. Go get that Bernard guy who loves me so much. David Baxter, thank you for joining me tonight. Too bad I was only with you for like 2 minutes or less while I was driving up Route 27 in mid-Florida going to work. David Baxter does apocalypse stories. I love apocalypse stories. I'm going to have to go get his. I have a lot of apocalypse books back there. So I have been in the genre for less than 1 year. I remember walking into Books A Million in January and saw Ace Hardbacks or Ace Publishing's hardbacks of DCC up on the top shelf. Really good placement by Books A Million. I said, "Ooh, that looks cool." And I opened it up and saw it, grabbed it, fell in love with Dungeon World, or Dungeon Crawler Carl and his contest. But I didn't know what Lit RPG was. I had read sometime in 2024 Legends and Latte by Travis. Didn't know what Lit RPG was. So some point in January, I got onto Facebook and I typed it in, Lit RPG, and fell down the rabbit hole, as you now know. And I just fell in love with the genre, everything that's out there. After DCC, I went and listened to or read the recommendations and did He Who Fights with Monsters and Primal Hunter and a few other things. And who do I want to, which author would I like to meet that I have not met yet? Who haven't I met yet? If Shirley gets healthy and can make it to Denver in July, I would love to meet Shirley. If Zogarth actually shows up places, I don't know if he does. That would be cool to meet him because I did like Primal Hunter, and I want to continue reading those. Lucent Steele, who has done the System Rises. It's a new book. He's up in Michigan. He's not too far away. That would be a good thing. I don't think I've met David either. So David Baxter might be good to sit down. He's a very distinguished looking guy. I think we would make a great face, selfie to toss up there in the world. That's about that. I already met a lot of people. So what does Pop-Up like about Lit RPG? Well, there's Duke. He's saying, what the heck are you doing? I like the diversity of the styles that are attached to Lit RPG, be it isekai, be it apocalypse, be it the progression fantasy types, be it cultivation. There's just so much to choose from, and I think I came in at a good time, 10 years from the founding of the Facebook and 10 years from Aileron Kong publishing The Land, I guess, in that time frame, which Geneva recommended to me 4 billion times, and I actually picked it up, and I do very much love it. I've gotten through 3 volumes of The Land. The 4th volume is like $40. It's like it's pretty much overpriced for me at this point, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Hi, Iron Eyes, good to see you. I have loved everything I've done so far in the last 10 months. Just a little bit of trivia. Now, when Lit RPG Con Discord opened, Shinhofen, Arthur, the great author Shinhofen, was the very first person to join the Discord group. I did research on this. I was the 6th person and the first non-author to join the Lit RPG Discord server. Trivia. Geneva, you can go verify that, but I actually did, scrolled the whole way up to the newbies section where everyone joined. That was pretty cool, and I fell hard even then. And I, of course, created the pop-up persona and the boomer persona that everyone had to suffer through in Below Decks. But that is how I really got hooked onto Lit RPG, learning more about the people, learning more about the authors, meeting the authors online, meeting Sour Patch and Jay and Jason Hunter, just so many people that hung out with us, Brian J. Norton, just people that would actually stay down and talk to fans that they don't even know. That was so awesome, and that is the greatest thing that I experienced over in July at the con. That's the first con I ever went to, other than like Wizard World. But those are just vending type places to buy T-shirts and some comic books. But this is the first con I truly went to. I didn't know what to experience. Gims and I went up And even before we got off the train, more or less coming in from the airport, uh, Rin agreed to wait for us to go to breakfast. She was all ready to go, and I said, "Please wait for us." So Rin and Jay Krause and Sydney Krause and Gibbs and I went to breakfast at Syrup. And hopefully that'll become a tradition. But that's just how open everybody is. Don't know me, don't know, from Jack. And here I am talking to two authors, and Sydney and Gimmel was there with me, and we just had a fantastic time. Below Decks was a focal point, as Doug pointed out. It changed a lot. There's a whole history in the growth of Below Decks. It started out as a book review section, but got hijacked. And Geneva had to do all sorts of permutations to protect the universe from all the degeneracy that took place in that location. She did a great job of keeping the world safe. That is for sure. But we also met a lot of people there. And we had a good group participating in the weekend there with BJ and Amanda and tons of other people. Tiffany, that was the best part as well. What I really like too is also that there's Duke. Hi, Duke. Is that being a newbie, I can still, come about and get involved with podcasts and with my Facebook group, which I never have ever done before. I had been on Discord with some friends for games in the past, just really didn't do much with it. So it's the LitRPG servers for all the authors that is the first time for me to actually use Discord effectively. And that was another cool thing. So this is, to me, LitRPG is the place for me to be. And what I aim on doing is lifting authors as much as I can, introducing authors that don't have a lot of visibility yet, and hopefully get names out there, get books out there, get people talking about them. Even before I joined here, I always liked to do first authors, new published, new books, very first books, debut books in science fiction and horror and all that. So, I'm carrying that over. I will do Dinamit. Yeah, I will do Primal Hunter, He Who Fights with Monsters. I will do Sean White. I will do Seth Ring. I will do Will Wright. But I will also go for lesser known people and just work with them. Kevin Johnson, the weekend of the con, Kevin walked up to me and said, "Pop, you're a legend." And I said, "You're crazy. I want a picture with you." So I took a picture with him, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to read Slayerable." And I loved Slayerable. And I just posted some things about it. He loved it. And that is, now I have other people reading Slayerable. I have people posting about it. That's an awesome thing. And I want to continue to do that. I have more relatively newbie types that I want to get going. A lot of that will be over in Immersive Inc. That's a really cool group of people that I get along with. Nothing wrong with a food channel. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's kind of turned into a food channel over there, and I don't need to be looking at all types of food. I'm sorry, I got distracted. ADD. Oh God. If I see a comment in there, I'll go a little bit nuts. So who do we have here? How many people do we have watching me? I don't even know. I can't do this all that well. Um, Questions, comments. What do you want to hear about me? What do you want to hear about LitRPG? Hey, I got to play games with Aileron Kong because of Geneva. I was supposed to have Jez Kajayo too, but he was too busy over at the Legion table and didn't come on in over here. So, but that was so much fun too, to actually be able to sit down with authors and play games, walk through the vendor table and take a picture with Pop Up and Matt Dinneman in a hamster gerbil, whatever outfit that was that he was wearing that day. How does that happen? When does that happen? That's pretty cool. So Doug, Iron Eyes, Wreck, David, if David's still, what's going on? What are you looking forward to? Again, seeing everybody again at the next con, being a little bit more open to be able to talk to everyone since I'm unknown quantity, I guess. Hopefully, we'll be having some more panels. I know that they're going to expand that. I think we're going to have to because there's going to be a lot more than 1,000 people at this one, I would hope. However, I really, really want to make sure, I hope that those big Colorado room panels stay there, because that Saturday morning for 3 hours just absolutely was fantastic. Sitting in the front row, all three of those fantastic panels. So that was a really highlight for me, and hopefully they'll have that there, and hopefully I'll get front seat rows again. Who knows? But I also will now be able to, I think, just hang out in the lobby with Rec and Doug and everyone else again, like we did before. That was cool to be able to just hang out in that lobby and just see all the people mingle. That is something I want to do. I don't necessarily have to always be in panels, unless there's something really that strikes my fancy. What was my favorite part? Hanging out in the Colorado room for 3 hours on Saturday morning. That was my favorite part. And Iron Eyes, just get to it in July of 2026 and have a fantastic time. I think I'll be happier just to hang out with people and talk more. Now that I know a lot more street cred for Pop Up, I can do that. And also, I'll be doing podcasting. I'll be doing interviews. I'll be doing this. I'll make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes of what we can or can't do at the Grand Hyatt. I'm sure that Geneva will keep us all in line. That's her great function. She does it so well. I'm going to keep reading my 6 books at a time that I introduced on the first episode of the Rec and Pop-Up show, and they're right there still. One of them has been replaced. I finished one, and now I have a new one in that pile. It's going really well. I can't wait to keep this going, and hopefully I'll have totally new books by the next episode. It just keeps me interested. I get to stay in. I get to stay psyched up about 6 books instead of one, or plugging through a single backlog of a series. Even though I'm going to do Ultimate Level 1, I'm not going to be reading Ultimate Level 1, book 1 through book 8. I will be coming back to it, but I can pick and choose now. Like I picked up Seth Ring's Battle Mage Farmer, and I'll pick some other ones up, and I'm going to actually have certain styles of books that will, quote unquote, slot into one of the 6 books. There'll be an APOC section, there'll be a humor section, Um, I might just have a Kenny King section until I get some of those system optimization books out. Who knows? If Stumbling Up ever gets published, maybe I'll put a Stumbling Up slot there for a bit and go from there. But that's that. Um, what do you guys want to see at con coming up? I know Jordan Con will be fun, but I've got work, I've got granddaughters, I got Gims, I got dogs. Duke's back there. I've got Thelma. There's so many things to take care of that I really just have to pay attention to them and remember to take care of the lit RPG type at the big con. Oh, we're going to have books 2 and 3 of Stumbling Out by Lit RPG Con. That'll be awesome. You're almost getting up there with Jay Krause style writing, or Jay Krause's level of writing. You might even be faster than Sour Patch Hero. Who knows? July is going to be a very hectic month. We're going to have Lit RPG Con for a few days. And then we're going to have a week or so off. And then we're actually going to England. Gims and I are going to cruise out of England down the coast into Spain and Portugal. So we're going to be very busy. I'm hoping to have a few days in England and hit a bookstore, of course, and snag books from England to put into my library and, maybe see somebody. I don't know. We're going to play that by ear. There could be an author that's in southern England somewhere. So that is a possibility. Krause is still the short king, and I don't know how he continues to write at his pace. However, he didn't take a few days off, what we seem to hear. But he has his plan, and he's going to stick to it. That's that. I love reading books by people I know. Jay, Hunter, Sour Patch Tommy. I guess I know Dinnerman, even though, he's still too far above me. I have met him multiple occasions. And he does smirk at me when he sees Pop Pop, but of course he's an awesome guy. He's very fun to see wherever. Even when I first met him in Coral Gables at a book signing, he was just so personable. And the cool thing about him is that no matter how busy he is, how famous he is, popular he is, he pays attention to that person that's in front of him for the book. He makes that person the center of Matt Dinnerman's universe for that 1 minute or 2 minutes that he's there. So it's not like, an auto pen signing a book and going away. He pays attention. He listens to you. And that is something that's really cool and really important, not to just sign a book and run off. But that's what I got when I went down to him in May. And I actually, that was the first time we listened to a book. Gimmel went with me. Gims went down with me. So rather than keeping her blind, I bought the Audible for DCC and listened to it on the way down. And of course, within an hour or two, she was telling me to shush. And since that point, she had a good time at the con as well, getting to meet people, talking to people, listening to the panels that she went to. And she has started reading. She's gone and read book 1 of Apocalypse Parenting. And she is in book 2 to a degree. I'm not sure she's a lot to do with school. But, converted. I've got a convert. Not only that, she got 4 or 5 new followers on my Facebook group by sending invites out in her Facebook. And so that put me up over 250 followers, which is pretty cool. I guess she likes what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. Um, you're looking for panels, LobbyCon, more games. Yeah, I'm not that much of a gamer anymore. I don't know what I would do there, but I really would like to have panels that have a wider variety. And I'm sure that they will develop all those because they know what they're doing. They've been doing GuildifyCon and all those other things. See ya, Iron Eyes. Thank you for coming in and sitting with me for that little bit. Appreciate you. Um, who else is all here? Doug Lowe's, Dave Baxter. My third book hit this week. I'm hoping to be on book 5. Yeah, well, Jay has his tism. That's as Tiffany would say. Um, that's just the way he is. Um, yeah, I know, Doug. It sounds like you're going to be up there too. But the difference is in book 5 of Doug's series, supposedly Below Decks makes some sort of an appearance. Can't wait to see how he does that. And again, I know I see, and you, David, you do some really good advertising. I see you up there. I love my apocalypses, so I just can't get away from them. And then I just have to find some time. I need more time. You know what I need? Oh, I make an appearance too. And that's going to be 2 appearances. I'm supposed to make an appearance in Golem Master 5 or some issue of Golem Master. That might have a hint of villainy from what I've heard, but we shall see. I need maybe to come up with some sort of Patreon so I can continue to read more. So maybe I don't have to work at Wawa and lose time from reading and talking about and writing about or Facebooking about authors, so I can do more help. I don't even know. I don't even think I'm doing all that much, but we shall see how that continues to play out. I am going to try to come up with a new pop T-shirt. So hopefully Geneva doesn't have to make version 2. I'm gonna try to come up with the official pop of LitRPG T-shirt for Con 2, using one of those cartoony type images of pop, and going from there. David, are you going to be doing different types of series, or is this still the Apocalypse series that is going to be book 3, 4, and 5? And Doug, I know your book is going 5 or 6 books, maybe, and then you have 4.8 million ideas to go after that. Hey, Richie Stevens is here. Hi, Richie, and you didn't even ban me. How are you, sir? It's always good to have Richie around. There you go, hoping to end it in 6. But you never know what your characters are going to do to you, right? Because it's not you that's in charge, it's the characters, and you never know which way they're going to go. So, see, here's a cool thing. I get to do that same Apocalypse series. He also writes Portal Fantasy, but it's unrelated. But all right, so Portal Fantasy does not have the gaming aspect or the system aspects to it. Is that what you're saying there? And then I get to do. Yes, you would. Well, I had to do the shirt. I had to get some advertising in here. I don't have a ton of little RPG shirts yet. But here I have a question. Duke has a habit of going off plan for sure. You want to ban me all the time. So in 6 or with 6 more. What does that mean, Rack? Oh, no, no, in 6 books. Oh, that's Doug wants to be done in 6 books, not 6 more. I figured that one out. Um, so, what is everyone's process or thoughts on going on to Etsy and buying fan created product on works? So it's adjacent. Thank you, David. Like getting a Glurp Glurp Mother cup or you know, new achievement bookmarks and things like that. Um, it's not AI, so Dinneman doesn't care about that. But is that an okay thing to do since you're helping someone with creation? It comes within the fair use doctrine, probably. But what do you think? If I end up having a Dungeon Crawler Carl mug on a show, am I going to get ripped apart for that? Oh, Rick, you can come up with a really good. You look at this. You have this. You can come up with a mug. I'll buy it from you. And I don't even have one of those big slugs. I only have those little baby slugs that were taken away from their mother, like veal, which is horrible. I do like this yard stream. I am not a fan of someone profiting out of someone else's work without getting permission or giving royalties. There you go. That's why I ask these things. I like to learn. It would be nice to get a cut, but at least it's getting more awareness of a story out there. There's another aspect of it. And see, isn't this a cool thing? I asked a question and I'm getting all sorts of different opinions. So I guess I have to be careful. It's like, keep politics out of LitRPG, which I'm doing a very good thing about. At least I am now. I heard a door slam. Don't know what that was. Probably a baby. I guess that is true. I try. And what do I do for this next 20 minutes? This is a long time to do this by myself. That's why I like to have a rec around. He always guides you along, pushes me in the appropriate places. Can you see all those wonderful books back there? See right there is, it's going to have to go this way. Right there, that is Shadow Star, which set Shadow Sun by David Wilmarth. That's a great series. That is a cool series. That's okay, Richie. I figured it out. I ended up being live. I just went live and there I was and everyone found me. So I didn't know if I had to go and do actually like some sort of link in the LitRPG group or whatnot. Shadow Sun, all six books. It wasn't an ending, but it was a good place for David to move on to Battleborn, I guess. It really could have kept going, in my humble opinion. Really like that series, and that was before I did my sixes. He's not a good lifeline. That's a horrible thing to say, isn't it? And I talked to Hunter Mythos on Monday. Had a real great time chatting with him for about an hour. I am going to put up the unedited interview conversation with him probably today or tomorrow. That was just fun to do. And he's he's willing, and I think Richie already mentioned that he's going to be interviewing him on Chat and Stats. I think I got Hunter over the hurdle of sitting down and talking to people. I think I was the first person that got to interview Hunter, and it was just cool. He was one of the first authors that I got to know in the Discord. When he came around the corner, we saw each other and just hugged each other like we were old Florida friends. And Doug, don't even bring me cookies. I'm trying to stay away from cookies now because of blood sugar and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm doing good. I'm trying to behave to a degree. So my least favorite cookie. I don't know because I don't eat them. I eat what I like. I eat, oatmeal raisin. I eat chocolate chip, snickerdoodle, things like that. The big sugar cookies are the best, but I can't, do those anymore. Sugar wafers are cool, but I don't know if I have a least favorite cookie. Something with molasses in it. I don't like the chocolate. I don't like the drops. I don't like things with cherry drops in the middle of it. I don't like the mixture of a cookie and a drop there. Now you know. And don't tell BJ about cookies because she'll just come in here and start talking about them constantly and finding which ones I have to make and whatnot, or she has to make for me and whatnot. Yeah, that's a good thing, right? Molasses is no good in a cookie. I'm trying to think if I still hear my granddaughter awake at 9:40 at night when she took a nap, so it's very possible that she is still awake. I'm going to tell you guys one thing. I'm going to do an outside LitRPG recommendation. Before I found DCC, I was hardcore reading Jodi Taylor's Chronicles of St. Mary's, or Chronicle of St. Mary. It is a series of 13 or 14 main books and some ancillary books about time traveling, even though you can't call it that. Definitely, if you have time to read outside of the genre, do the Chronicles of St. Mary's or whatever they are. It is a rollick. They are just written to keep going and going and going and going through. They would make a great TV series, just the way that she writes them. There's my outside genre recommendation. Which book has the most surprising ending for me so far? I don't know if there's been an ending anywhere, since they're mostly series. There was a death in Shadow Sun that I was not happy about. But that's really that's about it, because hey, in Primal Hunter I've read book 1. He Who Fights with Monsters, I read book 1. Will Wright, I've read book 1. I just haven't gotten too deeply into too many of the series yet, to see what would happen at an ending. That is the problem of having so many books to read from now. And so, what about you, Doug? What's your most surprising ending so far? Now I feel like a psychiatrist where I'm turning your things around with a question back at you. How about that? I guess he has to type in, and there's that 5-second lag roll that's going on. I did. I did. That's the power of being in charge for the next 17 minutes. And is there? Let's see. Let me turn around here. Uh, there's so much that I have that I still haven't read. Um, I don't know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this much. I have to read Erebus Esprit again because I have to get into book 2 and book 3. He's like ultra crunchy, and I love ultra crunchy. So, what MC power? Let's see, Rack goes here. Would you steal if I could? I would steal consume. Absolutely. I would steal consume from Max in Ultimate Level 1 because it is a short circuit of just having one skill or two skills. And I think, again, being in book 1, he's still underpowered. At this point, he just realizes that with the way that one of his teammates has a much higher constitution, so he still has a lot of growth to do. But he is going to be, I would assume, by book 8 or book 9, ultra overpowered. So that's the one I would steal. And again, even here, one of the recent multiverse had a great ending. There you go. And again, Sean Oswald, is just going to continue writing to the degree he has to. And that's what makes it so good when you see something that you don't expect and it shows up. Okay, Rec, what does consume do? What consume does is this: the character can only stay at one level. He does not get experience points from killing mobs, um, killing people. But if he kills a creature or a person that has higher stats and higher skills or different skills than him, the consume skill has the potential to add a stat or steal a skill. So the character Max ends up with multiple skills. And it was pretty cool. And he's just going to get really powerful from what I can gather. And of course, I'm now reading a different book, so I'm not diving right into UL one. Shattered Limits is the name of the second book. So I was really, really impressed with Sean Wilson's book. And that's a cool thing too, of being able, knowing these authors, but also then getting into their books and saying, wow, this is cool. I think, Rec, the answer to this question. High crunch, 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 crunch. Give me more crunch. Erebus Esprit's Project Tartarus is overpowered crunch, and that's a good way. I'm looking at Rogue Ascension by Hunter Mythos, and he has a good amount of chunk in there as well. Yeah, I agree, Doug. I can't wait to keep getting into UL1, Ultimate Level 1. You have to work at that. You have to work at that, Rec. They have medicine for that now. You can improve your memory. Don't worry. There's hope for you yet. So, just give me crunch. That's why I love the land when I went into that, because there's a lot of system building and skill progression and whatnot. So that's nifty. I can read anything, but if I have a lot of crunch, all the better. Simple as that. And Thank you guys for letting me be here. Thanks for hanging out with me for an hour. My good go-to people, and David Baxter getting to learn about me as well. Uh, but there is this core of people who hang out with us on our podcasts and whatnot, and that's something we're going to have to work on expanding. Um, and I'm going to continue to try to expand out in other groups that don't realize that they may be fans of LitRPG. An example of that is a DCC group loves DCC, loves Dinamit, but they may or may not realize that LitRPG is out there, and they may not realize they have to, come on over and experience all the greatness that's over here. And hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit of that. We shall see. What do you want Pop-Up to do? What am I? What can I do to help you all and the genre? What do you want to see from me? If I'm allowed to ask that, because we have to carry on from 10 years to 20 years now, and make sure that LitRPG continues to flourish. And I want to do that. I broke the chat. I've been known to do that a lot. What is crunch? Brian, crunch relates to the amount of stat information that is in a book. Whether a character is gaining skills, gaining experience points from quests. A lot of quests are considered crunch. I can go grab a book and I can show you what crunch is if you want. If you have a book that is more smooth, creamy, the difference between peanut butter is crunchy or creamy. That's just more of a progression type of book where a character continues to grow, and there will be game mechanisms in the book, but it's not so dependent upon visibly showing the increases in skills and the completion of quests and things like that. I think that's a valid definition. And here is Doug actually responding. I do that. I try. We do have a lot of good super fans. Kyle, me, Dr. B, all sorts of good people. Brandon, Bernard. There's just so many people out there that jive with what I'm trying to do, what the fans try to do. LitRPG in 10 years is going to be a lot bigger a wreck. That's what it's going to be. But it's also just going to always be isekai, always be progression, always be everything that we have now, because I think that new ideas will always come up. Just like every single year, there's new musical styles, new musical hits. Authors just come up with new things all the time. And I think that's just going to be able to expand that way. And it'll never die out. Simple as that. I mean, if romance novels, have not died out after 150 years of having romance novels, certainly LitRPG is going to be able to continue for a long time. Simple as that. How's that for an answer, and not really being an answer? That's that. Oh, the cool thing is this does get recorded by StreamYard, whatever it is. So I'll be able to utilize it. Yay! Um, and just remember, in a couple weeks, Rec and I will have episode 2 of the Rec and Pop Up show, and I have to continue to read and try to get, hopefully 5 or 6 new books on that list, so I have something to talk to him about, and hopefully he'll read a book or two in that time frame, or listen to a book, or whatever he does over there in the middle part of the country. And also, I'll be working on my own podcast of some type. Um, I have ideas to make mine a little bit different from what's out there. And we'll see what happens. I'm really thrilled to keep going and keep moving on. And I really love having all you people around to experience it with. And cannot wait for July. That's a very good thing. Yeah, but Doug, there will always be new things to do. But um, we'll also know who those writers are that are trying to cash in on a market fad. Because their heart won't be into it. So I think we can avoid that. My favorite bookshelf would actually be Cargo. I don't think they make them anymore. They made pine wood furniture that we bought when Gibbs and I were first married back in the 80s. Gosh, those were awesome books, awesome bookshelves. Also, I like mid-century style bookshelves, the smaller bookshelves, 3 or 4 levels. I really like traditional artwork. Everything in the back there, that all came from Amazon. And I still have one more to put up. But unfortunately, before I could put my 6th bookshelf up, I got that from Kevin Johnson. So I had to put that up on my wall. And so now that's just going to occupy that space. Since it's the only one in the entire universe, there is none like it. It's one of one. Therefore, oops, I did that before. Therefore, that wall stays for Slayer Bowl, and it can't be changed. Is anybody coming on after me for 10 o'clock? I can't stay on. I have to get to work for 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be going to sleep right after this. Any other last questions? We have 4 minutes to go before I give up the ghost. Or are you just going to make me look at the comment screen, or pick up my books and say, remember, I'm reading Battle Mage Farmer. Remember, I'm reading Magic Cube Murder Marine, which is hilarious, by the way. I'm the end of the day. What can I say? I've destroyed things in the past. I'll be around. I post things every day. So keep an eye out for pop-up. Thank you to Geneva for all the work that she does in LitRPG. Thank you to Alaron Kong for creating the Facebook group LitRPG, and for creating the land, for ushering in the American version of LitRPG. Absolutely an amazing thing that has grown from that. And thank you for writing the land. I really enjoyed Richter and Scion. It is a cool series, and I still have 5 more books to read. So hopefully I can overcome the paperback cost for book 4. And I will not go into Kindle. I do Kindle. I do Railroad. So I have moved beyond just the physical books, but they are my primary source. So hopefully I'll be able to get from book 4 to book 8 or book 7 and go from there. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I am going to end this up, and get ready to turn in. I will see you around Rec. I will see you on November 4th. Try not to disappear. Will you at least respond to my Discord comments or my Discord messages that I send you? Thank you. He's going to come in. He's going to beat me after a while for that one. Thank you, Brian. See you guys later.